and your body not in alignment or together. So how do you know, or which one you're listening to? How do you know when you're making the right decision? So that all could be at peace and not feel like one overpowering the other.
But I think too that the answer for that would also come from, the stillness, in terms of, you're sitting quietly. Because once you start to practice stillness, and once you sit, like, okay, you have a question, because this is something that I practice. I have a question. Sometimes a lot of things on your mind and things just hitting you, and you have to do this. I just say, okay, stop. Yes, sometimes stop moving and all. You could be walking in the house, stop. And after you stop, you clear your mind. As you're breathing out, everything that in your mind, you're releasing everything that in your mind as you're breathing out and you're releasing. And as you're breathing in, you're thinking about the question, you're thinking about the question, you're thinking about your question, and you're breathing out and you're releasing everything, the chaos, the anxiety, the confusion sometimes that you're feeling. And then sometimes I would just, okay, I ask the question, release it. And then the answer may not come immediately, but throughout the day, or something would happen, or somebody would call, or you would see a message or something, and the answer would come. But I think the foundation for a lot of things and a lot of the answers that we are seeking does usually be found in stillness. So sometimes you just take a walk on the beach, or you just go out for a stroll, and when you're there, a breeze might blow, and you would be like, I didn't even think of that. And the answer does usually come. Because a lot of the times that's when the instructions come as well, and the stillness. Sometimes just before you go to sleep, you might ask a question and you might wake up with the answer. Or you might wake up with, call so and so. And then usually, a lot of times, well, for me, when I have questions, I just clear my mind, ask it, and I just usually get my answers after. I don't know if anybody else have any thoughts.
I think for me, my issue is impatience. Because when I ask the question, I'm there and my mind is still running around thinking, well, maybe I get the answer here. No, it might be that. No, no, no. And you expect it almost immediate,
Yeah.
as like, sometimes a little bit of knowledge. I keep saying, because if you like in my case, where you spent a lot of time growing up reading the Bible, there's a phrase in the Bible that I'm now beginning to realize you really need to interpret properly. They always use things like "and straight way," "right away,"
Yeah.
"immediately."
Yeah.
So you go up thinking that things supposed to happen immediately, and you're supposed to be able to see what has happened immediately.
Yeah.
So for me, even when I try the technique, of quietly mind, ask the question, the let it go part. And you are really true, because sometimes you go out in the yard and the thought will then come. It just did not come immediately. So for me, the getting past the desire to see immediately
Yeah.
is what I have to work on.
But you see,
Yeah.
Catherine, when you look at this is something that I noticed there, because remember now we are living in I remember I heard somebody say a popcorn society where you put it in the microwave for 10 seconds and then it's ready. But in reality, and because of Amazon and our access to a lot of things and how readily available a lot of things are, we expect a lot of things now. But when you look at life and the unfolding on life, you would realize that life is an unfolding. And when you look at nature, you realize nothing in nature is really popcorn. And if you plant a
Yeah.
seed now, you're not going to get this flower tomorrow. And it's sometimes you have the desire or whatever. Sometimes you write it down. Like, let me give you an example, right? I wanted this laptop, the laptop that I'm speaking to you on right now. And yes, I want the laptop, and yes, it's expensive. I don't know how I get it. I don't care. I know I want the laptop. Because once I want something, I would focus on it. So you can't get my mind off of it. I don't know when I get in it. But when I get in it, it's not important. What is important is me knowing that I want it. And what I did, I went online, I found one that I liked. I write down all the specifications. And sometimes I wash in ways, they say when you're asking for something, ask like a child. And when a child asking for something, they're asking you every 2 minutes, right? So sometimes I wash in ways. And I say, and don't forget, I want a Dell XPS 15-inch i9 processor. And I listen at all, every single thing. Sometimes people, if they're passing anyway, they might say, but this girl mad. Whole day. Sometimes I will just start. And don't forget, I walking up the stairs. I want a white Dell, and I listen out all the specifications. And it came. I don't know how it come. I don't know how it was coming. I don't know how I was going to afford it, and it came. And that is the same thing with nature. Sometimes you have to ask that question, yes, but you have to leave it to unfold. You don't have to, well, I need to make sure it come in, and I need to know. You just need to ask the question, release it, and it does usually come. But again, you have to be specific and you have to know what you want, because as I told you, I went online, I look for what I want, I write it down, I memorize it, and throughout the day I tell you, wholly, not wholly, but like twice for the day sometimes I talk it. Or walking with my sister, I would say, go, I tell you, I would repeat it all the time. All the time. And I tell you, when they say know what you want, know what you want. And even with the laptop, it was like a connection. You know what you want, and you pull it out of the universe. You understand?
Yeah.
Ask the question, be specific, and see yourself having it. And then just, well, oh gosh, I know this is the hard part for a lot of people, the waiting part. But just as nature, and nothing blooms in a day, when you plant a seed today, you ain't getting the sauce up tomorrow. Sometimes it's 7 years. I plant an avocado tree how much years now, I still ain't seen the fruit, but you know, it usually comes. But I know a lot of times too, people they get very despondent. They get very, very despondent, but just keep your mind focused on what you want when you're feeling that way. Try and keep your mind focused. Nobody else have any questions or anything to add, anything to inquire about?
I could just, I think this was the one, I wouldn't say the one time, but this was like the biggest, or one of two of the biggest things that manifested for me based on asking, releasing, and being specific in what you want. It's my current job. And I'm telling you, specific to the point like the amount that I wanted to be paid. And for me, it's hard sometimes, just like Catherine, to, release it because you want it now. But it's just like I was at a job, I was asking for a certain amount, they wasn't giving it. And, it was fighting, fighting, fighting to stay in this job, to, let the people pay you what you're asking for. They wasn't willing to pay. So you went on interviews looking for other jobs. And then this interview came up, and I mean, it was COVID. So it was like via virtual. And the lady was like, yes, I want you, I want you, I want you. I like your personality, you're going to fit in. And she's like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get you the job. And I was like, yeah, because I really liked the job that I was at. So I was hoping to stay there, but
and I was at the job, and HR called me, and they're like, we got a call, and this is like almost overnight. We spoke, and they said they want to hire you, and they're willing to pay X amount. I was like, what? I mean, exactly what I asked for. I was like, they're like, would you take the position? I was like, yeah, yeah, yes, yes. Then I had to check myself, and then, not be like, show them that I was like really excited, or, really, I wasn't really expecting that number, and looking back now, you could see why I was having, you know, problems, I guess, where I were, for them to be paying me what I thought I was worth. And sometimes you see challenges and stuff that come into your life, and you're like, oh, well, why? But you don't know it's one door closing for another door to be opened. And I'm at my job, everything that I asked for. And that's why I said, like, when I was talking the other day, I was talking about, these girls not talking and stuff. And I'm saying, but it's me, it's not them. Because it was everything that I asked for. And then, up until today, like, things have changed. They started talking, opening up. So that was just like one example for me that came through with, asking, being specific, and, learning to be patient.
Yeah.
I have a question, please.
Okay.
It put it into last week. I didn't get a chance to ask. My
Okay.
question is, well, imagine your life like a boat sailing, and sometimes it have things you cannot control, and it might rock the boat, or things might get rough. How can you put it into relationship? How to manage your emotions when you have different relationships, like a spouse and your children, and to manage everything now when the storm hits? Yeah, that's the question.
I feel like with that question, it kind of go back to you, and understanding who you are. Because one of the things is, you can't control anybody else. You could only control yourself. And when you really think about life and life situations, the more you get to understand it, is like, people really can't do anything to you. You allow them to do to you, including your kids. So you have to kind of get strong with yourself, trust and believe in yourself, trust and believe that, whatever you're doing is the best that you could do now. Continue to stand firm, continue to pray, continue to believe, continue to ask for what you want. Just like Adana was saying, is asking for what you want. You want changes, or, and having the expectation that it has already happened, but, and changes will come. But you have to understand. I mean, for me, I think one of the core things was understanding that you cannot change everybody, and having to learn how to accept, let's say, your spouse, accept your spouse for who they are, and
No,
understand that
I
if you
don't
can't
change
change them,
everybody,
I
It's
think,
about me.
let me tell you, let me give you an example, right? So the same laptop I told Lolia, I will talk to the universe about, and I get it. So lo and behold, the laptop not working properly, right? I said, Lord, waste this, waste this, waste this, waste this. So they told me I have to return it to New York, because that is where I purchased it. Well, somebody purchased it for me over there and sent it to me. So I went to DHL, sent it over there to my cousin, so she would send it back to Dell. So when my cousin got the laptop, I messaged her, because remember, I get it after return it in proper condition so that it would send me a replacement, right? So I messaged my cousin and I was like, Ebony, you get the laptop, everything okay? She was like, yeah, but it have a dent and a scratch on the screen. So I thought she was joking, right? So I video call her and she wasn't joking. And then the screen is a touch screen. So once you know there's a scratch, that's it for the screen. And then the laptop have a dent. And in that moment, just as Anika is asking, you see, when you're in the moment, and I realized that in that moment for me, you have to be mindful enough to utilize the tools that you were taught and not revert back to how the old you would respond. Because if you keep reverting back to how the old you would respond, you will keep getting the old responses from your environment and everybody else. Because I tell you, in that moment, I was almost ready to break. Because you're wondering, why this happening to me? Why it happening? And then I started to say, okay. Like, show me what's the next step? What is the next step? Show me what's the next step. Because what I realized too in life, every single experience is a lesson teacher. As much as in the moment I wasn't seeing it. Now back to the story as to let you know how this ended up panning out. I could have responded, in anger and call DHL and get on and this and that. I called my aunts. I called one of my friends. He said, Adana, my aunt said the same thing to message DHL, let them know. I messaged them. Then my friend also said, Adana, Dell is a big company. They probably have so many instances of that happening, they won't even care. So I told my cousin, send your laptop, message DHL, told them what happened. Dell, honestly, in the end, they didn't care because they said when I received the new laptop in the same case, just put the old laptop in the box and send it back. They never messaged me after. And DHL, because they dropped my laptop, they had to reimburse me for the full amount of the laptop.
Aye. So you get laptop and reimbursement?
It's like I get laptop and the reimbursement, the full cost of it. So sometimes when you're in the moment of frustration, you have to be mindful to remember to utilize what you were taught. And that is why every week I would try to encourage persons to remember this is not a class where we just come in and sit down and talk for an hour and a half. You have to practice what you're learning because I am seeing the results of it. But you have to be mindful in the moment to not go back to how you would previously respond. And the same as you clear your mind, you ask a question, how to deal with this, how to handle this. And you may be reminded of something from one of these Mondays or even one of the workshops to be able to handle it. But you have to remember to not revert back to how you would previously handle things and utilize the tools that you are given. Because the response that you would get would be totally different. And she here? She got bumped off. I think she got bumped off.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Allow me to expand on Anika's question, even with regards to what the topic is tonight, because it's about connection and how you connect you to focus and function in the greater universe. All that is required of you is your heart and your mind. We try to color things in so many different ways, but the way things function, you attract through your subconscious That's the spiritual dimension. You function on the spiritual level to bring things into your life. That's just as Lisa mentioned, just as Adana mentioned. This is how it happens. The way you hold the key is in your mind. So what you think about through your mind will rest within the soul and will attract what you need into your life. There are many other factors that allow it to happen, such as the way you would live, the things you do, how you function with other people. These things work together to bring what you require into your life. Your life is literally a reflection of what is happening inside of you in the communication between your heart and your mind. We tend to believe our mind is all. It is not. Say it one time again for clarity. It is not. You are complete. So you function beyond your mind. But your mind holds the key. This is what gives the mind the level of importance. Truth is, there is only you. We promised to expound on it because it was raised this morning in conversation in the WhatsApp group. There is only you. The true spiritual you is only aware of one. That's you. Though you have other people around you, the true spiritual you is aware there is only one. So that means that in your physical reality, you see different people, different things. You accept that as different and separate. But the true you, the spirit you, the soul you, the one who is along for the journey, knows there is only one. And you function with everything. So you function and you are already connected to everything. So when you call for something, it comes to you based on the understanding that you hold. And if your understanding is limited to what you think you know, then you will receive what you think you know. And if you are open to receive greater, then you will also receive greater. Truth is, we limit ourselves based on our experiences, what we feel, how we tap into emotions. We limit ourselves. And because we limit ourselves, we get the results that we have on the inside. So you may want for things and you will continue to want for it because you are blocking the path for it to come into your life. Because you believe it's something that you have to do. Just as Adana mentioned, you will know what to do when you know what you want. And the spiritual you will always be there to guide. This is the reason why she spoke of stillness. When you are dealing with other people, the spiritual you knows there is only one. So how you treat you will also be reflected on others. This is why you focus on you. It's not selfishness. You focus on you because when you learn to love you at the utmost level, you will then be able to love all. So it's really a true journey in the essence of your life. Life is not about how many things you can accumulate, although that is part of the experience. And there is nothing wrong with it. If you don't want, that's your choice. If you want everything, that's your choice. What we tend to do is we look at someone who wants everything and assume, based on our definitions, that this person is greedy. That is not your business. That is what they want. Focus on what you want. The heart mind connection begins in the stillness. So the more you could find peace within, is the greater your heart and mind will be able to connect to direct your life. It's not a difficult process, but there is a lot of noise in our lives, external noise and internal noise that we need to calm down. So if you can't find the time to meditate or to pick up a practice that will increase your awareness of who you are, then the wise thing to do is get out in nature or take a walk, like Adana said. Find time to spend with you so that you can get to know you. We tend to run away from this because we believe that as we see separation, we must seek the community. But we seek the community without understanding the community. If you understand you, things become different. Life expresses itself completely to you because you are a part of life. But the way we live, we believe we are separate and we are living our own expression from our mind. Yet there are so many other aspects of our being that is connected to everything. But our mind is not along for that journey. So it's like there is everything, and then there is you with your mind, and your mind is you are controlling the programming with your own thoughts. And because your mind is separate from everything, your awareness is restricted to your mind. So you must then journey and put your mind into the awareness of everything. And then life becomes a different flow because everything works for your benefit, just as the examples that were presented. And it has happened for many of you. The key is knowing what you want. It's not about the money. Money, just like time, is a construct. Understand what I'm saying? Money, just like time, is a construct. Time is more valuable than money, but they are constructs, and the true you transcends them both. The lesser you will believe you have limited time and you must make as much money as you can within the limited time to enjoy your life. That's the lesser you. The greater you has a greater awareness of who you are and understands that time and money are only tools that you can use in this physical experience. So it's all boiled down to knowing who you are. Relationships also come involved in the knowledge of self. Because as was mentioned in the weeks gone by, there is nothing greater than the understanding of self. You can feign to love others and you try to love others and show as much love as you can for others. Without understanding yourself, you're going to run into problems where you must identify who you are. That's life. So you understand you. and you will then love others. And the easiest way to understand you is recognize there is a connection between the heart and mind to attract exactly what you want. And this is what you want, and that is all that matters. It's not what you want for someone else at that moment, because we can want things for other people. But even before you want something for someone else, understand and develop you. Because until you understand and develop you, you will find reasons to hurt. And there is no reason to hurt if your life is completely one of enjoyment. There will be times to hurt, but you will always go back to the default of being happy and enjoying your life. The heart and the mind connection. The body only follows. The body will follow. The body has a memory of its own, but it will follow as guided by the heart or the mind. If you follow your heart only, that's foolish. If you follow your mind only, that's foolish. The key is the connection between both because of your physical experience. Because you are a physical being in the world, spiritually led, spiritually, that is who you are. But you are a physical aspect of the world. Understand what is being said. So you function on the levels that you are: soul, mind, and body. When that is completely in alignment, your life is completely different. Everything you want for, it is done. But everything you want for, impatience is a value of time. And your impatience, because you believe you have limited time. But when you understand who you are, there is no existence of time in the same frame that you have already set within your mind. So you would remove yourself from that thinking into a greater level of understanding. And when you function in a greater level of understanding, things will be different for you. Things will be different for you because you will manage your time better and you will attract what you are seeking in your life. Any questions?
Letting that bit soak in.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a bunch of things that you want, how do you, how to put it, boy? I know that you
Prioritize.
yeah, prioritize then.
I once heard somebody ask that question, and the answer was given that prioritizing is our what was it? We prioritize because of how we think of things, but everything is available, everything is abundant, but we think in prioritizing, we really prioritizing based on our understanding of money and what we could afford and what could come first and what could come next. So I don't know, I just putting that in there.
When it comes to priority and what you put as what you need, your life is already prioritized. So when you have wants and you seek to make them priority, it is okay based on what you think you need. But then again, based on what we're discussing here with the connection, if your desire for something, you may want the best looking golden shoe that you could have. But right now, you should be having something else. there will be a conflict within. So what you are required to do is ensure that the heart and the mind are in union before you set your priorities. When you set your priorities, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, and you know that this is what you want, and you feel that this is what you want, then you allow yourself the open space to focus on what you want, and it will start to come towards you and find a way to get into your life. But because you are open, what you may have put forward as a priority based on your heart and mind also needs to manifest itself completely in the spiritual domain. And just as we mentioned, you may want the golden shoe, but there is a priority at this time for something else. You must be open to accept that. So you focus, but you remain open. Follow?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Any question?
Hi, good night. My question is, what if what I want is not what I need, and what I need is not what I want? How do we work around that?
So this question will be based on what you are thinking. And when you are functioning from the thinking mind, you can function from the thinking mind in connection with the physical body, or you can function from the thinking mind that is in connection with the spiritual and the physical, which is the higher elevation of it. When you are functioning and thinking from the understanding of who you are, everything would be in order. Your wants and your needs. If you're functioning from the mind and the body only, you may mix up needs and wants because something is also missing from that equation. So anything can transpire. This is the reason why you find that centered space. You find that stillness where everything can line up. Based on the conversation last Monday, some people seek it through controlled substances, for want of another word. And because they use this to identify with, and many societies utilize it freely. Some societies try to control. Some societies use it freely. It's still up to the individual to know what is best for themselves. And that will work best when they understand who they are. If they don't understand who they are, then they will fall into what are the tenets of the law within each society. But what happens when it uses controlled substances is that that feeling and that space where you get into a high is essentially what happens. That's when you realize that the truth will come out. So even for the drunk person will speak the truth when they are inebriated. So that is the reality of it, because they have removed the mask that we all wear. So when that mask is removed, there is truth. Unfortunately, the feeling is so good, people tend to want to continue beyond that moment. And that takes it to an entirely different level. This is the reason why, because we tend to pursue what we think feels good, and we could put ourselves in difficulty. But essentially, what is happening at that moment is the actual connection. So in order to be that way at all times in your life, you find that true center. Because when you do this, you will be functioning heart and mind connected. And when heart and mind is connected, you have easier access to the subconscious. When heart and mind is connected, you will feel naturally high. Because you will be lighter. You will have no baggage because heart and mind knows exactly the path that you will follow. Because heart and mind will receive all the instructions necessary from the universe. It comes to the heart and you calculate via your mind. And once there is a connection between heart and mind, it will be maintained in truth. Not the truth that you believe others should see. Because I hope that after this conversation tonight and the understanding that there is nothing else other than you, when you look around and all these things that you see and believe they are separate are still part of the one, the whole that you are also a part of. So you create your own pathway. Everything in your life, everything you want for tomorrow, you, essentially it borders on you and what you know and what you do not know, what you are close to, what you are open to, and how you go forth on your journey. So hopefully your understanding would realize and reflect that there is a oneness and a connection that needs to be made. That connection comes through the silence. When you do this, needs and wants will be effectively articulated in your life. And when you remain open, things will always go where they are bound to go, because there is a conscious awareness and there is a subconscious mind and there is an unconscious awareness, and they all work together. Any questions?
No questions, guys?
Pondering.
Okay. Well, everybody is still absorbing but is everyone understanding what is being said though so far?
And this is
Yeah.
just the surface level. We can go deeper.
Arlene, you have a question?
Yeah, it's in the chat. So she said, if you prioritize and does not come, so if you prioritize and it does not come or not happening, the universe will reshuffle for you.
You, essentially, who you are, even before skin arrived, and your own ability to think independently. Keyword. There is a spiritual you who knows your pathway. This you will reshuffle based on what you intend to achieve in your life. Based on what you intend to achieve. The independent mind, your conscious mind with conscious awareness, may create different priorities. And things will happen in your life to always set you on the course that you, the true you, always intended to achieve. This is how it works. because you have already set your course. But your independent mind and your conscious awareness of your physical experience choose something different, may choose to go another path. You will always have conflict within, and then you will try to either follow because you have aligned yourself and decide, well, I want to ensure that what I choose as priority in my life is exactly priority, body, mind, and soul. Or you can say, I choose my priority is body and mind. Whatever happens with the universe and the soul and the subconscious and everything on that side, whatever happens, I either get frustrated or I go along with it. You also have that choice. One is a bit easier than the other. Understood?
She said she sent a thumbs up, so yes, she does understand. So, any other questions, guys, concerning the topic of connection or anything else that you don't understand from tonight's discussion?
Well, it's not so much that I don't understand, but going back to the thing that was posted this morning in the If Men group, the thing about your subconscious only knows you. But I have
That's
to
right.
confess that that thing had me, if I would never was mindful before, everything I was going
But
to
you
do today and think
have you never heard that you should be selfish?
in a form, yes. In some,
And it was exactly the same thing. But it's a difficult thing to understand if you function only from body and mind.
Yeah.
But there is nothing else but you. Understand what is being said.
Mm-hmm.
Not your children, not your job, nothing else. Like there's nothing else but you. You in your world. Have you heard this before? Yes, you
yes,
have. Listen,
yes,
you in your world. And because you in your world, you should understand how your world operates. But no one takes the time to understand it and totally believes that everything else is reality. It's not. It appears to be. It's quite deeper than we are discussing tonight. So we keep it on the surface level. You are reality. What you invite into your existence is your reality. And these things could be on the physical level, on the spiritual level, on the emotional level, or any plane that you choose to function on. You are creating that existence. When you are dealing with others, it is still about you. But if you interpret that from your body and mind only, you will have a difficult time. Because you are more than just your mind and your body. And anytime you understand that you are also a soul experience and the soul is connected to the spirit that you are, then your complete understanding of who you are is forever transformed. Once you can understand that, and then you will understand how everything connects through you. Yes, through you.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things that we talk about, manifesting and all these different things, are just a mirror of your actual reality. So you can change things as quickly as you want or as slowly as you want. When you understand yourself, the world opens up for you. And then you could choose how you want to exist in that world. I can tell you something. As you identify yourself completely, what you seek as priority today will no longer be priority.
Yep. That is true. Any more questions, guys? We have 5 more minutes of questions. So I am guessing
No
that
question?
everybody clearly everything from
Yeah,
tonight or
it's
okay, so we have a question from Arlene which says, how do you identify self?
when you identify self and introduce yourself to the entire different world that is truly who you are. As you said, the doors open and things are completely different. Identifying self requires taking the mind that you have and setting it aside. That is quite difficult for many because we like to think and overthink and believe that think is all that matters. And we attach feeling to the thoughts and we put ourselves in much difficulty, not understanding the purpose. Just before your question, I was about to say that we will go deeper into this topic on the other level of how that connection is formed. And we will discuss that at the next session. How the connection is formed. Because, as you mentioned, there are so many different factors: conscious awareness, conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious awareness, unconscious mind, heart and mind functioning with feeling. You're not getting into emotion. Two completely different topics. And we'll explore just the way that this works together for you. So understand that just as you asked in the question there is a flow that happens, that you are aware I am functioning in self. That flow can take place at any time because every now and then in our life, we find alignment or we find centering or we identify in the truth at different points in our life. If you could identify several of them throughout your life, because there would have been several, then you would know I have touched the true self at that point. You would know because the key word here is flow. Everything seems to fit exactly as they should be because in the universe there is nothing else but order. In our lives, not so much. So when you find perfect order in the way things happen for you, to you, within you, then you know you have touched the self. Understood?
Yes. Arlene said okay. So guys, it is now 7:59. I hope that you all had an amazing, well, awareness. I saw Bina sent a thumbs up. I hope that everybody's awareness is different now from 7 to 8. I hope everybody's awareness is different and their understanding. I said, Cav says, thank you for this session. Thank you as well for logging in and for being part of the Be Fitment team. And guys, remember, we are still trying to remember to practice clearing the